Chapter 3 A Walk in the Park. The next day was Saturday. Nick stayed in his hotel room and wrote about until morning. Then he rode to Stanley Park in the afternoon. He sat and read a book for an hour. Then he went for a walk under tall trees. There was nobody here. It was quiet, and he could walk and think. He thought about Mac Hastings and about the man with white hair. Did he know Mac Hastings? Did she know him? He remembered the Mac Hastings last word. Drive carefully, Mr. Hollywood. Why did she say that? Why did she call him Mr. Hollywood? He didn't understand any of it. Suddenly, he heard a noise. He stopped. That was a gun, he thought. There's somebody in the tree with a gun. There is again. Then something hit the tree over his head. Somebody shooting at me, Nick thought. He turned and ran, and somebody began to run after him. Nick ran through the trees. There was no sun in here, and it was half dark, and there were no people, nobody to help him. I must get to my car, Nick thought. Find some people, the police. He ran on. He could still hear the gunman behind him, so he ran faster. After 3 or 4 minutes, he stopped and listened. Nothing. It was all quiet. Nick was afraid. What's happening? He thought. Why is somebody shooting at me? First a hand pushed me from the car, and now somebody shooting at me. He waited another second or two, then walked quickly back to his car. He was very careful. He looked and listened all the time. But nobody came out of the trees, and nobody shot at him. Then he saw people. Women with young children, some boys with a football, 2 men with a dog. He began to feel better. Nobody can shoot me now, he thought. Not with all the people here. 10 minutes later, he was back to his car. There were letters on the window. Nick read it. It said, I'm going to kill you, Mr. Hollywood. Nick rode to the nearest police station. He waited for half an hour, then a tired young policeman took him into the small room. Nick told him his story, and the policeman wrote it all down. So, what are you going to do? Asked Nick. Nothing, said the policeman. Nothing, said Nick. But somebody shot at me and... Mr. Rose, the policeman said, tiredly. How many people are there in his house with guns? I don't know, said Nick. But you didn't see it. The gunman was a man, a boy, a woman, color eyes, long hair, short hair. You don't know because you didn't see anybody. Maybe it was a old girlfriend. Maybe somebody doesn't like your travel book, Mr. Ross. But what about the man with white hair in Whistler? Said Nick. The girl, Meg Huston, called me Mr. Hollywood in the cafe, and this man hurt her. And now I get a letter to Mr. Hollywood on my car. Who is this, Mr. Hollywood? We all want answers to our question, Mr. Ross, the policeman said. But we don't all let them question, but no answers. Nick walked out of the police station and rode to his hotel. He was angry and afraid. How does a man with white hair find me in Vancouver? He thought. Did he follow me from Whistler? Is he following me now? Maybe he stay in my hotel too, in the next room, with his gun. Chapter 4. The Man with White Hair. Nick stopped his car in front of the hotel. He looked carefully before he got out, but there was nobody with white hair near the hotel. He had run through the hotel door and went to the desk inside. I'm looking for a man with very short white hair, he said to the woman behind the desk. He's staying here, I think. He's about 60 years old, and he's tall and thin. The woman did not look very interested. There are a lot of visitors in the hotel, she said. Do you know his name? No, I don't, Nick said. He a friend of a friend, you see. He arrived in Vancouver yesterday, and I must find him. It's very important. Please help me. The woman looked at him. There are 315 rooms in the hotel, she said, and maybe 30 or 40 men with white hair. How can I remember all their names? She turned away to answer a telephone call. Nick walked away from the desk. A ring, he thought. I need a ring. He went to the hotel bar, got a ring, and sat down on the table. So, what do I do now? He thought. And then he remembered something. A letter in the girl half-open bag in the Whistler Cafe. And we can meet at the Empress Hotel, Victoria, Vancouver Island, on Friday afternoon. And tomorrow was Friday. I'm going to Victoria. Vancouver Island, he thought, to the Empress Hotel. Nick had dinner in the hotel that evening. He finished eating and got up from his table and saw the man with white hair. Nick moved quickly. The man was at the hotel deck. Nick could see the white hat above the other hat near the deck. "Excuse me," said Nick. He pushed past people in the hotel restaurant. A small boy ran in front of him, and Nick ran into him. The boy and Nick fell down on the floor. The boy began to cry. "Hey!" said a woman behind Nick. "I'm very sorry," said Nick. He got up and helped the boy to his feet. "Are you okay?" he asked the boy. "Be more careful next time," said the woman. Nick moved away quickly, but when he looked back the hotel deck, he couldn't see the man with white hair. He pushed through the crowd of people. "That man!" he shouted at the woman behind the deck. "That man with short white hair! Where did he go?" The woman looked at Nick. "Mr. Vickers," she said. "I don't know." "Vickers? Is that his name?" said Nick. "What's his room number?" "I'm sorry, I can't tell you that," the woman said. "But I need to," began Nick. The woman turned away to answer the telephone. After a scan or two, Nick went upstairs to his room. "Vickers," he thought. "Doesn't Mac Huston know Mr. Vickers? I need some answer, and I need them quickly." Chapter 5. Vancouver Island. Watson was about 23 miles south to Vancouver. Nick rode there in his car the next morning for the 1 o'clock ferry to Vancouver Island. Every 5 minutes, he looked behind him. The road was busy. Black car, white car, red car, green car. Maybe Vicker was in one of them. At Watson, Nick drove his car on the ferry. There were a lot of cars and crowds of people. Nick got out of his car and walked up and down the ship. He looked for the man with white hair, but he didn't see one. Soon the ferry began to move and Nick felt better. He found the ferry restaurant and got something to eat. More people came in. Nick looked at the cafe. So he looked with somebody tall and thin, but there was nobody. Maybe he's not on the ferry, Nick thought. Maybe he's back in Vancouver. Later, Nick walked around the ship again. Once, he thought he saw the man with white hair in the crowd, but he could not be sure. 19 minutes after leaving to Watson, the ferry arrived at Sword Bay on Vancouver Island, and Nick went back down to his car. Sword Bay was 20 miles north of Victoria. Nick rode quickly, and again looked behind him every 4 or 5 minutes. What? He saw a red car about 200 yards behind him. Did I see that car on the road from Vancouver to Watson? He thought. He drove more slowly. but the red car still stayed 200 yards behind him, and Nick couldn't see the driver's face or hair. Soon, he was in busy streets of Victoria, and Nick didn't see the red car behind him again. Victoria was a city of gardens in beautiful old buildings. Nick liked Victoria very much, but today he wasn't interested in gardens or buildings. He found the Empress Hotel, went inside, and walked across to the deck. "Can I help you?" a young man asked Nick. "I'm meeting a friend here this afternoon," said Nick. "Miss Hutton." "Hutton," said the young man. "Wait a minute." He went away and came back. "Sorry, but there's no Mr. Hutton staying here." Nick took something from his pocket. It was a photograph of Meg and her father from the magazine. "This is her," he said. The young man looked at the picture. "Oh, right. You mean Howard Hutton's daughter," he said. "She's not staying here, but I saw her 10 or 15 minutes ago. She was with somebody, a man. He asked me about the tea room." "The tea room," said Nick. "Where is that?" The man with short white hair was tired. He couldn't sleep and he couldn't eat. He thought about only one thing all the time. He rode and he watched and he waited and he followed. When he rode in the Victoria, the street was busy, and suddenly he lost the blue car in front of him. Angrily, he rode around the city, past all the big hotels. "I must find him," he said. "I must do it today." Then he saw the Empress Hotel, and in the street outside, a blue car. He drove past the hotel, left his car, and ran back down the street. He went to cross the road and walked past the downstairs window. There was a big room with tables and chairs, and a lot of people. He looked carefully at all faces. "There she is," he said suddenly. There were two men with a girl. He couldn't see their faces, only the back of the hat. But one of the men was in a green shirt. "Mr. Hollywood," the man said, and smiled. "Goodbye, Mr. Hollywood." People in the street turned to look at him, but the man did not see them. He walked up to the door to the hotel and put the hand into his pocket. Inside, the gun was cold and hard.